Welcome back to Eliances Heroes, where heroes in business align. To be part of our super community and find out more about Eliances, visit www.Eliances.com. Now, back to our super host, David Kogan, founder of Eliances.
I know we've been getting so much activity from our first guest, so thank you. Have that continue to come, where we had Mr. Freeze. That's right, he's the owner of Cryo World Therapy. Make sure you go to cryoworldtherapy.com. And before I introduce our next hero, we're going to unlock the secrets. I wanted to thank you all for the feedback we continue to have from when I interviewed the founder of CNBC. So make sure you go to Eliances.com. That's Eliances.com. It is the only place where entrepreneurs align. Well, I'm so excited and maybe a little nervous about our next hero, because he is the former board member with T. Rowe Price and now the author of, are you ready for this? The first ever biography of legendary investor T. Rowe Price, which everybody in the world knows T. Rowe Price. And his book is The Man, the Company, and the Investment Philosophy. With that, we have Neil Bond. And by the way, you can get the book at Amazon, or of course, we'll have it on our website, Eliances.com. We'll have the link, Eliances.com. Okay, Neil, you've done a lot of things. What was the inspiration now to go and write a book about the one and only T. Rowe Price?
Well, first, nobody has done it, despite the fact that this modest, ethical man had built a mutual fund company that today manages over $1 trillion and continues to bear his name and is a public company. So we decided to fill that void and write the book. The second reason was one that he actually proposed before he died and tried to implement, but he didn't get it done. And that was to explain his growth stock philosophy, which was the major reason that he felt, and we all felt that worked with him, that his track record was one of the best of the 20th century. And he wanted to explain that growth stock philosophy in easy-to-understand language, and put examples in and so forth, which we did in the book. We spent some time, a whole chapter, as a matter of fact, talking about the growth stock philosophy in a way that hopefully other people can implement to improve their own investment performance.
Neil, can you share with us one of those secrets of what it is to be able to acquire wealth and regarding the growth stock philosophy that you learned from T. Rowe Price?
The major thing was to focus on companies, not stocks. As Mr. Price used to say, he never in his long investment career met any individual who was able to guess which way the stock market was going more than once or twice. And the growth stock philosophy, focusing on companies, it's much easier to determine what companies are growing faster than the economy, and then doing the careful research that's required to ensure that they continue to grow faster than the economy. They're basically the most successful companies in the economy. Back in his day, it was DuPont, which he actually worked for, Johnson & Johnson, which is still a growth company, as a matter of fact, Merck. Today, it would be more a Facebook, an Apple, one of the modern technology companies that would have been in his portfolio as growth stocks. But new growth stocks are always coming along, and he would put the best ones in and weed the ones that were slowing down out. Again, that was another critical decision. When do you sell a company?
And I've got your book in front of me, and I got to tell you, it's phenomenal. But in the book too, though, you share your personal insights, based on Price's own writings. What are a couple things or secrets that you've learned from working with him that really impacted you personally the most?
Well, I think taking a longer-term approach probably was the most important, and not being too impatient about a company going up quickly. Mr. Price used to feel that you should look out 10 years and be judged on a 10-year performance. Today, and it was certainly true at his time as well, people tend to focus on the company that their broker sells them that was going up very rapidly last week. But at least for me, it always seemed, as in my early days when I was investing with my broker, that those stocks turned around and went down the next week. So a longer-term approach, a more careful approach is really, I think, the major lesson that I took home from him.
That's right. It's all about the long term, and the long term listening to me, David Kogan, host of the Eliances Hero Show. Make sure you go to Eliances.com. That's ELIANCES.com. It is the only place where entrepreneurs align. And I have the honor of speaking with Neil Bond, the former board member with T. Rowe Price, also partner with New Enterprise Associates, and he has written the book, the first ever biography of the legendary investor, and it's titled T. Rowe Price, The Man, the Company, and the Investment Philosophy. So make sure that you go to Amazon or Eliances.com because we'll have the link there too. Now, Neil, when you left T. Rowe Price, though, you went on to work with one of the largest venture capital firms in the country, New Enterprise Associates. Tell us briefly about your experience there.
Well, when we started our first venture capital fund was $16 million. So we started out pretty small. Today, it is one of the largest venture capital pools in the country, and I think their latest fund that they just raised was about $2 billion, which is a long way from that $16 million that we raised way back when the firm began. It's very different, of course, investing in private companies than investing in public companies. The major difference is that you can't sell them. If something goes wrong, it's up to you to fix it. There's no market out there to sell it. And I always used to get the call. Thank goodness they didn't bother me on Friday, but they'd always call me up Sunday about 6:00, just before dinner time, to tell me that they desperately needed, or they were going to go bankrupt, money the next day. And needless to say, you're in a much higher pressure job in the venture business than you are investing in the stock market, as I did at T. Rowe Price for so many years.
Now, when my son found out that I was going to be having the opportunity to interview you and the background that you had, the question that he wanted me to ask you is what can you share with young children around, he's 15 years old, of what they can do now to really create a sound investment, to be able to, create almost that fund, that cushion. What can they do now to start saving and investing to be able to have something that will last them and to prepare for them into adulthood and so on?
I would I would put about half of my funds, and assuming that these are his funds, your 15-year-old child, he doesn't have a lot of debt. Maybe he's got some income from jobs that he might do in the summertime, or perhaps you give him a little income from time to time for jobs he does around home. I would take about half those savings that he has, and I would put it into a good big index fund like Vanguard. I would put a second, maybe 20% of those funds into something like, I'm biased, of course, so take it with a grain of salt, but I would go with a fund like the Growth Stock Fund or the New Horizons Fund at T. Rowe Price, both of which have, over their long histories, far outperformed over years the S&P index. So you have one fund, 50% of your money, that's going to at least perform as well as the market averages, no better, but at least as well. Then you're going to have 20% of your money in a fund that's going to do better than the Standard & Poor's index. Then, being at his age, I might take 10 or 20% of his funds. He's young, 15, and I might read my book, particularly on growth stock investing, and I might pick out 10 little companies that he might know about because of the products that his mother might have in the house, or being 15 years old, he probably knows a lot more about the internet than I do, for sure. And most others. 15 is when you really get started to know a lot about the internet. And I might pick out maybe a couple of companies from the internet that he knows about, a couple from around home that he sees at home, maybe a couple that you might come across in your work that you might tell him about. Put together a little portfolio of 10 companies and try to follow the ground rules that I lay out and see how he does.
I love it. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. That's right, Neil Bond. That's right, former board member T. Rowe Price, partner with New Enterprise Associates. Make sure you get his book at Amazon. It's T. Rowe Price, the Man, the Company, and the Investment Philosophy. That makes a hero. Thank you so much. This has been David Kogan with Eliances. Continue to stay tuned with our next hero coming up.